and families experiencing houselessness. Simply bring your donation to 4434 Crenshaw Boulevard in Los Angeles, near Vernon Avenue, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. weekdays. That's 4434 Crenshaw in historic Leimert Park. During the holidays and every day, let's remember, we keep us safe. We keep us warm. We are the safety net, and together we can cover the unsheltered. Get caught up in the spirit of the season, the spirit of love. Make a difference with your friends at KBLA Talk 1580.
Aye. What? Look. What they talking about? They ain't talking about nothing. What they talking about? They ain't talking about nothing. What they talking about? They ain't talking about nothing. What they talking about? They ain't talking about nothing. Huh? They ain't talking about nothing. Aye. What they talking about? They ain't talking about nothing. What they talking about? They ain't talking about nothing. What they talking about? They ain't talking about nothing. What they talking about? They ain't talking about nothing. Huh? They ain't talking about nothing. Pickable, I just put them bookers in my chain. Pickable, 80 pointers like a Kobe game. Pickable, 7.62s, I make them plain. Pickable, popping out, you better not smell my name. Pickable, put 2 foreigns on the 405. Pickable, Kashi Pepper here from doing pasta. Pickable, why you acting tough on IG Live? Pickable, you know my little off they rocker. Pickable, surprise, this that chicken cheese. Pickable, let me FaceTime my op. I'm up the street. Pickable, yes, AGs, I'm putting something to sleep. Pickable, he on the ground, I praise God and start stumping feet. Pickable, I put 10 on his face, my shoulder playing. Pickable, I hit it from the back, I told her move her hands. Pickable, then slap where up at. Pickable, on your top, I'm with that, don't look back. What they talking about? They ain't talking about nothing.
KBLA Talk 1580. Look who's on the line. It's a good day around here. He is an attorney in private practice. He is a contributor to KBLA whenever we can get him on a day when he doesn't have court. He is an abolitionist, born and raised in the 2nd District of LA, a graduate of Hampton University and Howard University School of Law. Attorney Jaaye Person Lynn, good morning.
Good morning, Dominique. How you doing today?
I'm blessed and highly favored. How are you?
I'm doing good. You know, got the Kendrick on the intro, getting you ready to talk about something. You know, they might not be talking about nothing, but I think we're going to talk about something.
We always talk about something. Not the least of which is, you know, K-Day in L.A. Kendrick is going to be at TDE, Top Dog, is going to be at Nickerson doing their toy giveaway concert, and I know it's going to be very, very popular this year. This is their 11th annual. Yeah. Anyway, so good choice, Attorney Person Lynn. Okay, so there's so many weird things going on that could use a bit of a legal analysis on your part. I guess we'll start with the commutations that Biden is offering. 1,500 people commutations today, 39 pardons. It is the largest grant of clemency by an American president in a single day. I guess he's trying to rework his image because everyone said he was meager in his pardons and commutations. These are not the preemptive ones that we had heard about. That could still be coming, preemptively pardoning people that we think the Trump administration might go after. These are mostly folks who were on home confinement during COVID and that Republicans were talking about sending back to prison. What do you make of this?
Well, I think, commutations being basically we're letting you out, but the convictions are still on your record, as opposed to pardons, which is a clean slate. I just think Biden is trying to save face a little bit. He caught a lot of flack for pardoning his son, which that's the American way, nepotism. And I'm sure.
But and who? Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't pardon their kid? That's dumb. Anyone would do that. He should have just done it with a whole bunch of other important pardons like Leonard Peltier. But go ahead.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm not sure what his strategy is with these commutations. Um, he's obviously not running for president. He's
Right.
eligible to, but next time he'll be like in his 90s or close to it. So I doubt he would run again. But I'm really not sure what his strategy is or why he's doing it. But for anybody that's not going back to prison, I think that is a good thing, and I think it's important, and they should really look at these cases and people who have served a significant amount of time when the damage was not that great, but the law just allowed for these great sentences. Those are the people I think he should be focusing on, and I certainly think he should pardon Mark Ridley Thomas as well. But
Yes, to that. Although I don't know. I mean,
well,
based on what I was reading about how the appeal went, he might not need it.
yeah, that is the hope. Judicial recourse is the hope in Mark Ridley Thomas's case, but to make it real easy for somebody that has done so much for that party, and for this being what they're claiming he did, that is the crime. That seems like the perfect person to meet that threshold of who should be pardoned.
Yeah. What do you think about, folks advocating for Marilyn Mosby to be pardoned? I mean, I would go way further. Mumia Abu Jamal, all these political prisoners that have been sitting there and have way long since served a lot of time. But what about Marilyn Mosby?
Um, yeah, with hers, I and understanding the political nature of her prosecution, I think that would be another good pardon for Joe Biden to partake in, being that the party as a whole really needs to do something to show the black community that it takes it seriously. And that's not saying, hey, we should just overlook bad acts or bad actors, but these are situations where people, like, no one was harmed. These in Marilyn Mosby and in Mark Ridley Thomas's case, you can't point to a victim and say this person was harmed, society was harmed in this particular way. These are like what you would call like technical offenses that aren't necessarily even like morally unsound. And so I certainly agree with Marilyn Mosby's pardon should that occur. I just, it's Joe Biden, so I'm not sure it
You're right.
will.
You're not holding your breath. I mean, I would love to see, you talk about Dems doing something to show they take black people seriously. Why not do an executive order for an HR 40, right? For a federal study on reparations. You're not going to run again. So why not do it?
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt Kamala Harris. She's out. Why not do an executive order for voting rights, for real police reimagining? Why not do it? It's, to me, there's no reason other than a lack of vision or a lack of political will, because you're a lame duck, and your legacy can only be enhanced by what you do at this point.
Yes, but we know what Joe Biden did with the crime bill. We know the effect that it's had, and we know in his 8 years as vice president and 4 years as president, there's been little to nothing done to rectify those wrongs. And I understand in the 90s, like LA's murder rate got up to like 2,300, and now it's around 600, and it still seems like a lot. I have no shortage of murder cases, but I can't imagine it being 3 and 4 times what it is now. So I do understand something needed. Well, there needed to be some changes. It's just the way it happened, adding more police and not realizing that that also came after the closing of mental health institutions, the influx of crack cocaine, which obviously we didn't bring to our community, but the explosion in mass incarceration that resulted, it has not benefited America in any real way, and nothing has been done to try and right that wrong. And so I don't expect much in that regard from Joe Biden.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. Fahima says that Mumia is a state case, so the president couldn't pardon him. So that's a good point. But it's more the spirit of it, and I think that that's a great point about Joe Biden being one of the architects of the crime bill, which he claims he regrets. So he regrets some of the results. And look, I was on the air back then with those 2,300 homicides a year. I remember trying to talk people out of the 3 strikes on the air. And black people and Latino people were like, no, we got to make our neighborhoods safe. And I'm saying that ain't going to do it. You can't incarcerate yourself out of this crisis. But people don't want to hear it, just like they didn't want to hear about Prop 6 and they didn't want to hear about Prop 36. And I get no joy and no pleasure out of saying I told you so, because I saw the havoc that was foisted upon our community as a result of the 3 strikes.
Yeah, state, federally, and statewide, and I mean it gets bad. I'm talking, and even with the DA Hochman, and I hope he does take a balanced approach and he doesn't go back to just the stone cold, let's lock everybody up.
You're saying that because he claimed he was going to take a balanced approach, but then one of the first things he said after he got sworn in was he's going after, even before he got sworn in, was he's going after trespassers, and and drug possession, not dealers. So to me, that means I'm targeting the homeless.
Very much so. Very much so. Before the laws, before Prop 47, I believe it was, I remember there was a time that I had interviewed with the DA's office. I was, it was during the Great Recession and all of that, and just wanted a different job. But it was revealed to me that 40% of the felony filings downtown, which is one of the largest courthouses in the country, were from skid row, low-level drug offenses. And so if we go back to that, what it does is certainly ensures, jobs for law enforcement and prisons and jailers, but it does not do anything to make us safer. It doesn't do anything to help with the economy or anything like that. So, it's unfortunate. But I know I started a retrial the day Hochman was inducted, and we had already done the trial, and the retrial got delayed because one of the main reasons the court reporter took some time to get the transcripts ready, and so we started it last week, the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, and they tried to refile or file the 25 to life gun use enhancement that we had not proceeded with up to that point. We still went forward with the trial, and the judge ultimately denied their request to add that enhancement. But it just goes to show that it's starting immediately. The Hochman actually wasn't even sworn in at that point yet. It was still the morning. He was sworn in the afternoon, I believe. So these are what we have to look forward to. And so many prosecutors that just did not give Gascon's policies a chance, did not believe in them, fought against them. But what we know is that the policies of the past have not worked. And, I don't think they'll work now either.
Yeah,
but I do caution people that these prosecutors and police are feeling like how black people felt when Obama was elected the first time.
That's a great point. They're turned all the way up. It's a really, really good point. And we're talking about the new prosecutor, the new DA here, was part of a movement nationwide to get rid of progressive prosecutors, along with the new hyped up new Confederate Republican Party taking office. It is a perilous time to be black in America, so be careful. Godspeed. We'll continue this conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Whoa, it's you, the Capital One Bank guy.
That's what they call me.
Mind if I get a selfie?
Yeah, sure thing. Save no fees or minimums on your Capital One checking account.
Wow, that's a keeper. So, where are you heading?
I'm off to spread the good news that Capital One helps people keep more money in their wallet with no overdraft fees.
Oh, you're the best Capital One Bank guy.
Hey, mind if I get a selfie?
Sure.
Say, Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
Here's another great reason to use the United States Postal Service this season. Your boxes are wrapped and the gifts are in. Our employees are ready. Let the holiday ride begin. Let's start with the price. It's easy to manage when you ship with the reliable USPS Ground Advantage. In just a few days, it's sure to arrive. We're working nonstop to keep the spirit alive. USPS Ground Advantage, the affordable and reliable shipping solution for the holidays. Visit USPS.com/advantage.
Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive.
Hi, I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You've been hearing me guest host here on KBLA Talk 1580, and I'm having a blast. But I'm excited about joining the official lineup here at KBLA Talk 1580 starting Monday, January 6th at 1 p.m. Start your day with First Things First and Dominique DiPrima at 6 a.m. Check out Tavis Smiley at 9 a.m. Tune into Truth Time with Dr. Cornell West and Nina Turner at 12 noon, and then tap in with me on The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show at 1 p.m. weekdays. I served 17 years in the U.S. Congress, and I can tell you it's going to be a rough 4 years, so let's navigate this journey together. It's The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, starting Monday, January 6th at 1 p.m. on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
The conversation continues indeed, and I'm really happy to have Attorney Jaaye Person Lynn with me. So I was complaining because Hochman has replaced everyone with his people, all of, Gascon's people. And I didn't understand why he could do that and Gascon couldn't do that. But another attorney explained to me that he's replacing the top brass and not the rank and file. He can't, because of the union, he can't replace those rank and file, even though they're lawyers, they're still considered rank and file prosecutors. And those guys are already with Hochman anyway, because as you said, they were resisting Gascon, which was really resisting the people's agenda for reimagining the way justice is meted out here in LA County. They were resisting it from day one, so that cleared that up. But it's really interesting to me to hear that you're already seeing the impact as a lawyer working in this system.
Yes, immediate, day one. And it's unique because when Gascon came in and it was like, all right, we're taking away the enhancements, judges were refusing, even when prosecutors were making motions to strike the enhancements from complaints or informations that they were proceeding on, informations, complaints are a little different. You have more freedom to change them. But on the information, once it get past the preliminary hearing stage or there's an indictment, there were judges that were refusing to take off those enhancements. And I am happy the judge I'm in front of presently, he's, for the most part, fair and equitable, but it was more so about the appearance of inequity, why he agreed to not allow the new enhancement to come. But he was, from his prosecutor days, he was like, man, I would have started with that enhancement. But since we didn't start with it, we already went to trial without it. It would just appear like it was a malicious prosecution, which I believe it was. I believe this whole case is a malicious prosecution, as it's basically saying that no matter what kind of danger a young black man is in, he's a murderer if he uses a gun to defend himself. And that's what the case is ultimately about. It's an attempted murder case. The guy got shot, but he got shot after chasing my client 60 yards and my client running away and firing warning shots. But we're here, and what's unique about this case, for the first time in my career, I did what's called a Batson Wheeler challenge for the DA, and that's a challenge that you bring saying the DA is kicking people off of the case or somebody's kicking people off of the case based on race. And for the first time in my career, I did it for white people. The DA was kicking off all the white people because on the last trial, the people that voted not guilty were like all white people. And
that's crazy.
Because they looked at it like, man, if somebody takes me 60 yards, I'm shooting them. If I have a gun. And
right.
So it and the one black juror we had that was for the defense had to leave because of a family emergency. A family vacation, and we got delayed. I don't know if you remember earlier this year,
mm-hmm.
It was like a cyber attack on the court system.
Mm-hmm.
And so that delayed our trial for a few days, which pushed us back to his vacation. But it was just a lot. But just seeing the prosecutor who's like a Southeast Asian woman, just kick off I'm talking about she used 10 preemptory challenges and 7 of them were for white people. It was something else,
that's everything's upside down right now. Attorney Person Lynn, I got about 1 million things I want to ask you, and I know I'm going to run out of time, but when say something about this probation situation. We here in LA County, today is the deadline for them to vacate Los Padrinos. Now there's a leaked tape of one of the higher-ups in the probation department saying we're going to defy the state and keep these young people in this juvenile hall even though it's been deemed unsuitable. And it could be a big showdown. And, they're saying they don't have enough probation officers in there to make it safe, but the probation officers are calling out sick and refusing to work there. I mean, what's the way forward in our juvenile justice system?
That is tough because it got so bad for so long that now we're here and we have people dealing with what's in front of them, which is kind of bad. I actually did a case at Los Padrinos where the probation officer was charged with battery on one of the youth that were there, but he was really like breaking up a fight, and he was charged with battery on the kid that was the bully in the fight, when the kid that was getting beat up was like thankful. But it's just so bad. It's gotten to a point where probation, even when I get probation reports, it's just like so often the names are wrong because they're just like cut and pasting. And so probation, to me, from my perspective, and not all of them, those probation officers that are handling and monitoring the felony probationers, that's the part of it that seems to be the most effective, and they do the best work. But in the juvenile, it just got so bad from, I'm talking about decades of this, having fight clubs, sexual assaults, that it just became commonplace. So really, it does take a tear down and a rebuilding of the whole structure, in my opinion, to get it right and get people in there that are going to do the right thing. But that blue wall of silence where you see people doing things wrong to these kids get in and they talk crazy to you as a grown man or a grown woman, but you're a professional. You can't respond with emotion. But when you see someone do it and don't report it, in my view, you're almost just as bad as the person that actually did it. And that's where I think it got to the problem, is people being unwilling to report their colleagues who are violating. And so how we fix that, I'm not sure, but it definitely seems there needs to be a tear down and rebuild of the whole system.
Yeah. We got a lot to talk about. We only have 30 seconds till news, traffic, and sports. But Jaaye Person Lynn, I'd love to get your thoughts when we come forward, when we continue this conversation on Daniel Penny. You know, this guy gets away with literally murder. And does that mean there'll be no consequences? Like, how does that even work? The guy, the suspect, Luigi Mangione, in the shooting of the healthcare CEO, the New York police, the New York police mayor Adams is actually releasing all of these bits of supposed evidence. What does that mean? And is that normal? So much more to cover. We'll continue our conversation with attorney Jaaye Person Lynn when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. President Biden is warning the incoming Trump administration of national security issues in a classified memo. It reportedly states that Russia is providing military technology to Iran and North Korea and conducting joint patrols with China. The family of Hannah Kobayashi, who vanished last month, confirms she is safe. She was last seen in Los Angeles in early November. Police say she walked into Mexico on her own. The man accused of trying to assassinate Donald Trump, Ryan Ruth, is requesting his trial be delayed until December 2025. Ruth, who pled not guilty, allegedly waited with a rifle near Trump International Golf Club in September. And 6-time Super Bowl winning coach Bill Belichick is set to become the next head coach at North Carolina. After nearly 50 years in the NFL, Belichick will transition to college football at UNC. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
Imagine a photograph of your favorite place in California. Then right in the middle of it, one piece of litter. Litter has no place in our lives, not one piece. Together, let's change that. Clean California. Zero litter is the goal. CleanCA.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Something is going on with LeBron. He was given an excused absence from Wednesday's practice and film session. Lakers coach J.J. Redick said LeBron is taking some time away from the team. LeBron has not been with the team since Sunday's win over Portland. He sat out that game with a sore left foot. Redick is uncertain if LeBron will be with the Lakers for Friday's game at Minnesota. It looks like there's been a change in thinking about Bronny James playing road games in the G League with the South Bay Lakers. LeBron's son will be with South Bay for tonight's game in Tempe, Arizona against the Valley Suns. This will be Bronny's first road game with South Bay. Crucial game for the Rams tonight at San Francisco. The Rams need a win to stay in contention in the NFC West. Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford is going for his 5th straight game without an interception. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
On behalf of her precious family, It is with profound sadness that KBLA Talk 1580 announces the passing of our beloved colleague, Robin Ayers, on Thursday, December 5th. Robin was a bright light. You could see her radiant smile through the radio. We all respected her immense talent, loved her jovial spirit, celebrated her love of family, and honored her faith in God. Our thoughts and prayers are with Robin's entire family, most especially her husband Rob and her twin daughters Brooklyn and Madison. We ask you to join us in praying for the Ayers family as they navigate the difficult days ahead. In her honor, all this week, we're broadcasting the best of the Rob Report on KBLA Talk 1580. This is KBLA Talk 1580, home of the 2024 Climate Justice Campaign.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on singlecare.com, show the coupon at the pharmacy, and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to singlecare.com or download the free app today.
The revolution will not be televised.
This is Brother Cornell West. My dear brothers and sisters, I'm full of joy and delight to announce that I'm joining the precious family at KBLA Talk 1580, founded and led by my dear, dear brother Tavis Smiley himself. Yes, the name of the show is Truth Time, and I'll be working with the inimitable Nina Turner out of Cleveland, Ohio, sister of great vision, and we will be on weekdays at 12 noon. We will be following Brother Tavis Smiley's show. We will begin Monday, January the 6th. That's right, Monday, January the 6th. Get ready for a different kind of insurrection. We coming with Martin Luther King Jr. and Fannie Lou Hamer and Curtis Mayfield and Aretha Franklin, and gonna add a little Gil Scott Heron too, as Nina Simone sits at the center. That's right.
The revolution will be live.
That's what we gonna do. Please come with us on this fantastic voyage.
The revolution will put you in the driver's seat.
Find a righteous rage and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney Jaaye Person Lynn is with me. You can find him on Instagram. Is it Lincoln Lawyer LA? Is that your handle?
That's it. Yep.
And you can find me at DiPrima Radio, DiPrima, and then radio. And of course, we're at KBLA 1580. Let's talk on social media. Let's talk in person. So many things to tee up. So let's start with Daniel Penny, acquitted Monday of criminally negligent homicide for choking Jordan Neely to death. The unhoused person who was possibly having a mental health crisis on that train. And, you know, I have said on this mic that I think it reminded me of the Dred Scott decision, you know, that a black person has no rights, which a white man is bound to honor, something along those lines. So does that mean this guy has no consequences whatsoever? Like you can just kill a black homeless person, and he made millions on GoFundMe. And he's probably going to get a book deal, et cetera, and no consequences. Will there be any consequences here? Or is it just over?
I think there will surely be a civil lawsuit which has a different standard of proof, right? To prove that Daniel Penny was, excuse me, prove that Daniel Penny was guilty of criminally negligent homicide or manslaughter, it had to be proved beyond a reasonable doubt. What's interesting, though, is that the jury deadlocked on the manslaughter, and then the judge dismissed it, which it could have just been, hey, they deadlocked on the manslaughter. We couldn't get to that point, which means we can't get to the criminal homicide, which means we have to do a retrial. That's what could have happened, but it didn't. They just dismissed the manslaughter, and now he walks free. So there will be no criminal punishment unless the federal government, which I highly doubt, being that Vice President-elect J.D. Vance lauded the verdict as justice and just, so that makes me believe that there will be no federal prosecution. Therefore, the only recourse for the family would be civil, which, we know money was raised for his legal defense, but, we don't know what his actual assets are as of now. But certainly that's the only recourse that the family can get.
Yeah, but he raised $3 million. I mean, that's a pretty substantial war chest.
Yes, and he had some of the best attorneys in the business fighting his case. And, it's one of those scenarios real similar to the George Floyd situation, where it's just like you did not have to do it that way. But I think it also raises the discussion related to just other people's involvement. Like there was somebody else on that train that saw it and either agreed with it or just didn't do anything to stop it. And so that's the other part in our society. And I understand why people don't get involved. And I've taken public transportation, the trains here, and people, it does get uncomfortable when people get to yelling and screaming and just saying things and acting erratic. But until they start doing something to people or appear like they're actually going to do something to people and not just talking to themselves, I've never felt a need to actually step in.
But there were people saying you're going to kill him, stop. And he didn't stop.
Yeah.
They didn't tackle him, but they were trying to make him stop, choking the guy out. I've been in those situations on trains too. I just, you don't have to kill the person. And I feel like, well, this is stating the obvious, but if that was a black man choking out a white person, I don't care what he was doing, he would have been found criminally liable to some degree.
Yeah, and probably wouldn't have just been let out initially. Remember, also
right.
Like George Floyd, had there not been protests, there would have not been an arrest.
Yeah, great point.
Yeah, it's one of those tough situations. I just really feel for the family, and it's tough for all people experiencing what the young man was experiencing and going through life, just knowing that at this point it would make people think like, hey, his life doesn't matter anymore. And that's the saddest part in it, is that somebody's life can be taken in that way and it just be lauded as a hero.
Yeah, for the vice president to do that, and for all these folks tweeting that he's a hero, I hope the karma teaches you why that's the wrong thing to say. Let me just leave it there. Jerry Anderson, no, who is it? Somebody's in the chat. Oh, yeah, it is Jerry Anderson's asking, what is the name of the task force to counter Project 2025? I don't know. I think it may be, I don't know how, well, we'll see. I think the task force to counter Project 2025 is called the greed, incompetence, and corruption of the Trump administration. But I don't know. You got any thoughts on that, Jaaye?
No, I don't. And, it's going to be interesting to see how the whole Project 2025 is implemented, because at the end of the day, Trump is still a wild card. We still don't know exactly what his plans are moving forward, and we know these Project 2025 folks. They're very calculated. They've been working very hard, but I don't think Trump is 100% in line. I'm hoping he's not 100% in line with them, and so we don't know how things.
But most of them are former staffers of his, and he's already appointed several of them to high positions, or planning to appoint them to high positions in his administration. That said, the wild card piece is he loves to fire people, so I'm really looking forward to him firing Vivek Ramaswamy, and some of these other Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's now part of the DOJ shadow government agency that's supposed to cut everything. I think that'll be one of my favorite parts, is watching him get tired of these people and firing them. Speaking of which, Christopher Wray, the director of the FBI, has announced he'll resign, which means basically, CNN put it really well, that is the latest step in the accumulation of massive and unusual power around the president-elect. I mean, Supreme Court, the Senate, the House of Representatives, the now he'll be appointing a yes person, Kash Patel, if he can get confirmed by the Senate, to run the FBI. Wait, does that even have to be confirmed by the Senate? I'm not sure, actually. But in any case, he's close to dictator status on day one because of the election results. And I wish Ray would have stayed and fought just to be. He's another Republican. He's a Trump appointee, but at least he's not Kash Patel. Thoughts?
Yeah, that's going to be something, because what we see, and I think so many people in the discussion related to Kamala Harris, I think many people forgot just that these middle America white folks, they're just kind of like leery on foreigners leading the government. But then,
unless they're the first lady.
Yeah, and that's
the second
different.
lady. Well, no, she's not a foreigner. She's a first gen.
Yeah, but when you have somebody that's a first generation American being the president of the United States, I understand in a country like this where so many talented people come and have babies and create talented babies, how it could happen. But there were a lot of people just going to be leery on that. But also what I find is that the view of America that people have when they come here, they don't necessarily take the entire history into account. They act as if America's just America now and not the America that it has been prior. And so that's what, from the little bit that I know about Kash Patel, that's what concerns me about him being in that particular position, because it's like, hey, if you're not going to look at all the factors that led to things being where they are, that's going to put like a lot of us in a real bad position. And, I mean, we'll see how it goes with it. We've lived through, Reagan, 2 Bushes.
Yeah,
so
I really think
we'll
this is a bit. I think this is worse, because I don't, just because of the this Supreme Court. It's like anything that goes all the way to the Supreme Court. We know which way that's going. I feel, but we'll see. You're right. We'll see. I also, do you think he's gonna? Well, we'll unpack this when we come forward. But do you actually think that he is going to go after the Bidens, go after the Adam Schiffs of the world, go after his so-called enemies and persecutors, using the Justice Department to hand out retribution and revenge. And are there any legal constraints that could stop him from doing that? Let's talk about that. I also want to talk about the shooter, healthcare shooter, and how the prosecution and the mayor of New York are sort of creating a narrative in the press. That's next on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
This season, Chevy brings classic pairings, cookies and milk, mistletoe and kisses, and your holiday plans and a new Chevy. Silverado 1500 gives you power and capability with 430 pound-feet of torque to haul your holiday tree. The Equinox EV and all-new Equinox, America's best compact SUV for new vehicle quality by J.D. Power, offer both confidence and style to see you through the holiday season. It's easy to see why Chevy makes everything better and brighter. Find your red tag. Get 0% APR financing for 36 months on select popular Chevy models when you finance with GM Financial. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. Award based on 2024 models. For J.D. Power 2024 U.S. Initial Quality Study award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Offer available on all 2025 Equinox and 2024 Equinox EV, Blazer EV, and Silverado EV models. Monthly payment is $27.78 for every $1,000 you finance. Example down payment is 26.8%. Must finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 1/2/25.
The revolution will not be televised.
This is Brother Cornell West. My dear brothers and sisters, I'm full of joy and delight to announce that I'm joining the precious family at KBLA Talk 1580, founded and led by my dear brother Tavis Smiley himself. Yes, the name of the show is Truth Time, and I'll be working with the inimitable Nina Turner out of Cleveland, Ohio, sister of great vision, and we will be on weekdays at 12 noon. We will be following Brother Tavis Smiley's show. We will begin Monday, January the 6th. That's right, Monday, January the 6th. Get ready for a different kind of insurrection. We coming with Martin Luther King Jr. and Fannie Lou Hamer and Curtis Mayfield and Aretha Franklin, and gonna add a little Gil Scott-Heron too, as Nina Simone sits at the center. That's right.
The revolution will be live.
That's what we gonna do. Please come with us on this fantastic voyage.
The revolution will put you in the driver's seat.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach? Transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal? Prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need Need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
We're not for everybody, but we're for everybody. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
And I do appreciate you. Man, time flies when you got a big brain person on the phone breaking things down. That would be Jaaye Person Lynn. Molly Bell says, shout out to you. She loves your parents. Of course, the broadcaster, Cedra Person Lynn, and the great Pan-African scholar, your dad, who I interviewed many, many times. So, Dr. Kwaku Person Lynn. Great, you got great DNA working for you.
I believe it, and they are also great carers of small children, and we appreciate them for that.
Yes,
well.
indeed. Yes, indeed. Luigi Mangione, the suspect in the shooting of this CEO of United Healthcare, which has really set off a whole debate about our healthcare system, which I think is great because people are mad and they just weren't even that sympathetic about Brian Thompson being shot for the most part. Although seems like every police agency in the world was looking for a suspect, then they magically found him holding all of this evidence sitting at a McDonald's. That I can understand why a lot of people feel the whole thing is suspect. It feels like every hour we're getting a report about some evidence. His attorney is pushing back. What do you think about the way this whole thing is handled? I mean, from the perspective of an attorney, if he was your client or if you were the prosecutor, does this seem normal to you?
No, I wouldn't say anything about this case seems normal to me. What is unique, though, is that he had all of this evidence on him. It seems like it would have been just okay, like he would have ditched everything,
right?
But he kept it on him. And so you wonder, is there some other issue going on? Are there some mental health issues? Was he really upset because there's the narrative surrounding him having a medical issue, and that's what truly upset him and set him off. I know initially people were trying to blame the wife, saying that she was responsible for it, and it was like a love triangle thing. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. But ultimately, it's a strange scenario that. I knew it would be strange from when I first heard it. Like, wow, a CEO getting killed, a CEO in this particular industry getting killed. It leaves a lot of questions as to the whys and the hows and where do we go from here. I definitely think there needs to be some changes in the industry, but that's a heck of a way to start getting those changes going.
I know, and the fact that, the guy, whether he is guilty or not or whatever, whether this is the actual guy, people are comparing eyebrows on social media and all kinds of stuff, saying that's not the same guy, that he's a fall guy, that it was a conspiracy, and there's so many things that can add into that because the victim, the guy, Brian Thompson, was being prosecuted for insider trading, right, by the Department of Justice. Meanwhile, to your point, they've now put out this story that he had spondylolisthesis, a back condition that apparently can cause extreme pain, but it just seems weird. Why would you ditch your backpack and then go to a McDonald's and sit there with the fake IDs, murder weapon, whatever, manifesto with your face uncovered? I'm just going to sit here. I don't know. And are they, what is the purpose of them putting out all this evidence to the public? Are they trying to taint the jury pool? Are they trying to save face for themselves?
That's what I would attribute it to, is saving face and putting this story out. But I have to tell you, I am one of those people who is extremely skeptical about things that just don't pass the smell test initially. Like, extremely skeptical. Like, I just don't believe a lot of what is said in the media, especially related to some of these crazy shootings. It's just, I wish I could believe. I just can't. And this scenario, it's a little different. But I am very much interested to see how it all plays out and when the evidence comes out, because it seems like the young man is, if he was that into it, why not just go full-fledged and, I did it, this is why I did it.
Right.
And that's it. But apparently he's not making those kind of statements.
No, he's not.
He's fighting it.
Right, and he said, what did he say? The only part you could really make out was that it insults the intelligence of the American people. And I don't know exactly what he was referring to, but it seems like a lot of things are insulting our intelligence. I mean, and it certainly, there seems to be motivation for the police to do all kinds of things. Because honestly, the fact that someone could walk up on someone in broad daylight in New York City and just shoot them, it makes them look bad. That's what I think.
Yeah, it does make them look bad, and it's like...
And then right away on a bike.
New York City, this is New York City. There's cameras everywhere. There's people everywhere. And for that to just happen, it certainly makes them look bad. But it's also quite, people have to understand that doing things in plain sight is sometimes the best way to get away with them. And we've seen those examples of that so often, so many times. And this may be that, or it could be something else. But I'm still just very skeptical. I need to see a lot more in this case. But mind you, there's, I have my own attempted murder case, not my client's attempted murder case that I'm fighting. So these media cases, they are interesting for me to look at. But, just the skepticism I have for the, entire system is always going to make me raise an eyebrow and wait to see what actually comes out. But it could just be that. He could be frustrated. And I remember years ago out here, it was like on the 105 interchange from the 405, there was a guy that made a big sign about Medicare or these health care plans, and then ended up taking his own life with a gun. And I recall that, and I was like, wow. So people are willing to kill over these medical issues.
Right. Hard stop here for news, traffic, and sports. Jaaye, thank you so much for joining me today.
It was truly my pleasure. Always great to be here.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. President Biden is warning the incoming Trump administration of national security issues. The family of Hannah Kobayashi, who vanished last month, confirms she is safe. She was last seen in Los Angeles in early November.